Starting. Okay. All right, everyone. Welcome to Leadupteach live tonight. We have a very special guest joining us. It's Denis Sheeran joining us, and we're so excited. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Heidi Beal, and I'm an assistant principal at an early childhood campus in North Texas. And I'm passionate about all things, of course, early childhood, ed tech, as well as leadership and instructional coaching. And I'm joined tonight by my co-host, Elizabeth Bostwick. Would you go ahead and introduce yourself, Liz?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Bostwick, and I'm a fourth grade teacher in the Finger Lakes region of New York. And I'm truly passionate about fostering a true love of learning within all students by immersing them in makerspace, PBL, and passion projects. Welcome, Dennis, and please introduce yourself.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to have this opportunity to talk with you a little bit about who I am and what I do. For me, I've been teaching since 1999. I grew up in New Jersey. I moved to Illinois, and then moved back to New Jersey recently to move my family closer together. I'm a father of four. I have a 12-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old son, and a 3-year-old daughter. So my wife and I figure that's just one for each hand without anybody scampering off into traffic. So that's about enough for us. So it's an exciting life. It's an exciting time with them, and they're really the inspiration for a lot of the things that make me think outside of my box and back into it. So that's me in a little quick nutshell, and I hope to tell you a little bit more about me tonight.
Awesome, Dennis. We are so excited, and we want to also give a very special welcome to our Leadupteach audience that is on Twitter with our other co-moderator and friend, Laura Gilchrist. She's leading the Twitter chat on using the Leadupteach hashtag, so we encourage everyone to follow that hashtag, participate in the chat concurrently while we're chatting live with Dennis tonight.
Absolutely. And tonight on this exciting 16th episode of Leadupteach, we're excited to hear Dennis's mission to make learning relevant in every classroom.
So Dennis, why don't you get us started by sharing a little bit about what led you to become the passionate educator that you are today?
Well, you know, becoming a part of a Twitter community has really made me realize that there are so many exciting and passionate educators out there right now. That's revitalized my passion for education over the last 2 years. But to go even farther back, my father was a teacher when I was growing up. I think a lot of us had an educator in our family, and that brought us here. And he never let me get away with doing anything the easy way. You know, if I had a question, he knew the answer. It was always, why don't you look it up? Why don't you check it out? Why don't you find something that can help you understand it? And that just developed the inquisitive nature inside me to look deeper at things for the answers and for what I needed to find. And so that's been a big part of the way I've gone through my learning, gone through my teaching. And coming back into the Twitter community, like I said a couple of years ago, has really helped me realize that there are a lot of people who think very differently, but share their ideas with each other and help us all think differently too. So the real big step was when I moved back to New Jersey a couple years ago. I became a supervisor for a math department. I had been teaching before that. And as an administrator, I got an opportunity to see a lot more teachers than I had ever seen before. I got to visit with math teachers, visit with other disciplinary teachers, and observe them teaching, and was kind of surprised at the amount of silent students that were sitting in front of me. You know, the amount of kids who were listening and learning instead of engaging and learning. And it really awakened me to some of the disservices I'd done to students in my own classroom, and some of the times I shut them down from learning opportunities and never really made it matter to them and drew on what was important to them. That flipped the switch for me to say, I need to work with people, and I need to write about what it means to engage students at a level of passion that they have, so that the learning is not only relevant, but it's permanent. It really matters to them in a time when something is important to them.
Wow, those are excellent reflections, and what a great way to be able to sit in a classroom and be able to reflect as an administrator, and then back on your teaching experiences as well, and actually doing something with that information. And so we can tell you're so incredibly passionate about making learning relevant for every student, and you shared a lot about your why for this passion for relevant learning already. If you want to share more on that, please feel free. Otherwise, also share about how relevant learning experiences innovate student learning.
Well, yeah, you got me here. I'll share all day if I have all day. But the why, as I've grown as an adult, and as the internet and the world around me has opened up the opportunities for me to learn anything I want to, anytime I want to. I have just been this absorbent sponge of learning new things. I fixed the trunk of my car the other day. I was doing like, oh, because a YouTube video was out there that said, hey, here's how you fix it. You know, like I'm learning things all the time. And I can't imagine a world where students are forced to learn exactly the thing I want them to learn and exactly the method I want them to learn and repeat it back to me, because that's not a world where real learning is happening. That's where just I'm transferring information that I have to another person to hold on to that information for a little while. So that again is the why. I really want to get away from that straightforward delivery, depositing of information. And the how it really just comes from being aware. One of the chapters in the book is being awareness of your surroundings. This is the Instant Relevance book. And Dave Burgess talks about it in Teach Like a Pirate, just being aware of your surroundings. I try not to look at my phone when I'm walking places. I try to see what's happening around me. I try to listen and feel what's going on, because that awareness opens up not only the opportunity to see something that might be useful, but to feel an idea or to get an idea that could make a connection that goes in one direction later. That opportunity to just absorb what's happening around you and live in that moment and take that moment for what it's worth, and maybe even break it down into pieces while you're there. You can really pull some awesome stuff out of it. And then if you can teach kids how to do that, then they'll be able to turn back to you and share what they're thinking in that moment, and you can grab onto that and make it matter to them again.
So, Deniss, I'm sorry, I've got some background noise here.
It's okay. No, you don't have to worry about the background noise. I'm so excited about this whole thing that my kids forced me to the basement. This is our extra Christmas tree back here. I'm 20 miles away from them in the house, so that, you know, I had to get here.
Well, we live in close quarters, and so we're always on top of each other with my boys. So, you know, this is a great segue, because this next question that I really wanted to ask you was one that came to me when I was reading your book. I especially love the chapter in Instant Relevance titled Natural Flow, Follow the Questions, and the particular section that said, meet me at my best, and the story about you and your son. Would you mind telling our audience a little bit about the story about your son and the ball jump game and the implications for us with our students every day with that mindset of, we want to meet each other at our best?
Absolutely. Kids are great. They say amazing things. And sometimes, you know, you have that child yelling at you sound that you don't realize is happening, and so you shut it out. But occasionally they'll say something that sticks. And my son was playing this, he plays Minecraft a lot with his sisters. He's 5, he was 4 at the time. He's playing Minecraft, and in Minecraft, for those of you who are out there in the Minecraft EDU world, you know, you can join into the same server and be in the same place with someone else and play and create together. And he does that with his older sisters. So he's playing this other iPad game that has nothing to do with that. You just push a little button, you jump a ball over some squares, and hopefully you get pretty far as you can go. And he asked me to play it with him. So I took out my phone because I had it on mine because it's a pretty addicting game. And he said, you know, why don't we meet at my best? Because at the end of the game, when your score is, it says best score 70 or best score 25 or 30 or wherever you are. And he said, then we can go together. He wanted me to help him inside this game, like my ball meet up with his ball and we'll jump together from there. Because that's the world he was in with Minecraft. He thought it was like that. And the phrase, meet me at my best and then we'll go together, is what stuck to me as a school leader on multiple levels. As a teacher, we have 20, 25, sometimes 30 kids in a room that we are trying to figure out how to help them move down the road of learning a little bit farther. And they're not all in different places. They might be close. I mean, they're not all in the same place, but they might be close. But they all have different needs. They all have different abilities at this time. They all have had different paths and different opportunities. And we need to identify where they are each, and then develop a plan to take them down the road a little farther. Whether that means we do that as a group or as an individual, as a teacher. I've been a math teacher forever. What that means for me, I know some people, when I say math teacher, they do the shake thing. So, but that's a change. You know, I can take people farther down the wanting to learn math road. To me, that meant I need to look at students differently. And as a leader, I need to look at my teachers differently. if I have an initiative as a leader, something about technology, something about a new plan, something about a new curriculum, I have to understand that maybe not everybody who's teaching in my department is at the same place, ready to go down and do the same tasks. They might need to play catch up. They might need to move faster. They might be leading the way ahead of everybody. And I need to take that into consideration. And leaders at the highest level to, from superintendent to building leaders and building leaders to teachers and teachers to students, can break down where we are and how we can be there for that person and then go together. Because that's how real learning and real collaborative learning can happen, is when you're in the same place at the same time. So.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing more about that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So would you share some of your favorite ideas for engaging students by infusing everyday current events and experiences into students' learning on a routine basis?
This is like a 20, 30-minute talk, right? Because I have about 4 or 5 days worth of talking on this one. So every idea is like my new favorite idea. That's the fun part. I see something, I grab it, oh, this is fantastic, and I want to use it. We started to collect some things together, and I'm going to share one. Alice Keeler and I were talking one day. I think you know Alice. She's the author of the 50 Things You Can Do with Google Classroom book, and she's a pretty active Twitter person. And she and I were talking one day about the math in the world around us, and how sometimes as math teachers, we have this opportunity and we see something, and then we so overcomplicate it to turn it into something ridiculously valuable in our minds that it becomes not as important, not as relevant, not as easy to use, and even not as interesting to kids. So we broke it down to this idea called I see math. I would screen project for you, but I don't know if I can. Can you see my screen if I do this? Oh, we're going to try this out at all. Ready? Can you see me at all right now?
Yes, we can see you.
I'm going to check this one out. I'm going to see if you have the opportunity to see my screen by screen share. So can you, all right, can you see my screen right now?
Well, I do. Yeah, now I see Heidi.
Right. Well, we have this thing that we call I see math, okay? Can you see me? Can you see that in front of you? In I see math, we realize that we see math all around us, so we're going to try to keep it simpler. We take a Google Slides presentation, keep it simple, white text, white background, with a title on one page, an image on the next, and a really vague question instead of something that's too deep. So here's one of them. I had this example called too much coffee. And I put this out in front of some teachers, and I heard some laughter because I think in their opinion, there's no such thing as too much coffee. So I can agree with that personally. But I was in Dunkin' Donuts and I saw this picture. If you can see that all right. Maybe I'll even present it out for you. You can see that one. This picture had regular coffee and iced coffee pictures. And then you can see that it says this most refreshing value thing over here. And instead of talking about that and saying, let's find the unit rate of ounces per price per what's the best deal, you just put the question out there. And my question was this one. It was, I love coffee. My wife says that if I ever die, they may actually find some blood in my caffeine stream. So I'm interested in getting the most bang for my caffeinated buck. What should I buy, right? And then I put the picture back in front of the kids. They come into this as, well, look at that big one. He should buy that one. Well, what if this is a better value? That's the bang for the buck. Well, this is an ice. Do they put the ice in before the coffee or after? Is that 32 ounces of coffee or 32 ounces of liquid, including ice? And the questions start to develop. And and the best part about this is that there's no answer, because I'll buy any of it. I love coffee. So for them, they're trying to answer this question with that thought process in mind, and it's just vague, but I just saw this at a store. And the best part that came out of this was a couple days ago, I was in my Dunkin' Donuts, and there's a new one up. There's these lattes and espressos, and they have this turbo shot. I don't know if you guys drink coffee or if you ever do this, but take a look at this, and do you see what's interesting about it? There's no prices on those.
Prices are gone.
There's no prices on those turbo shots, on those things. That is what's really, really interesting to me. So are you able to see me back now, or am I screen sharing again? Okay.
Still screen sharing.
All right, I'm going to screen share off here if I can. Does anybody know how to screen share off? I'll click on screen sharing and go from here. Well, I'm still screen sharing and you can jump over. That's here we go. Am I back in?
Yep, you're back.
All right, good. Good. We tried something new on the fly, and it worked.
Yeah, I love it.
So for me, that icy math idea is a really great way to bring something that kids can do into class. They're out. They see something. They can take a picture, put it in there, ask me a question. Why not? Why not make their questions interesting in our classroom tomorrow? Why not make what they're seeing as important to them important to us? And this transcends just math too. I'm developing a set of these called I See Stories, where you see something, a situation that you realize, let's turn this into a writing prompt. Let's turn this into a poetry prompt. Let's turn this into something that really can be used in a different way, and what's going on with that situation over there. So that's one of my favorite things to do, is to not only grab something and bring it in now, but to grab something, to allow students the freedom to grab it, bring it in, and make their interests a part of our everyday.
That's brilliant.
I bet your students probably always wonder, what's Mr. Sheeran going to bring in next? What's it going to be? And then I bet, because you've created that culture in your classroom, that they do at a certain point naturally start bringing things to you and saying, hey, we need to talk about this or break this down.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's funny for me now, because I don't have my own students anymore. Right. As a supervisor of teachers, I stop in classrooms, and sometimes the kids see me and they're like, "Ooh, it's the question guy," because they know I'm going to ask something ridiculous, or I'm going to put up a picture. I'm going to jump in with another one if I can. Do we have a minute?
Absolutely.
I was the connections that we make. I think sometimes they're too surface. They're too much on the surface. And I'm a mathematician. I'm a musician as well. I've played saxophone since I was in 4th grade. I'm a singer. I'm married to a professional singer as well. She's a soprano. She sings in New York. She sings in New Jersey. And I went to New York to drop her off for an audition. And I brought my kids, and we were walking around. And while I was there, I'm going to jump back into screen share because this is super fun for me. While I was there, I saw this red cube. Can you see me all right? Can you see that?
Yes.
That cube is a sculpture in New York City that was put up in 1968 by a Japanese artist named Osamu Noguchi. I didn't know this at the time. I just saw a big cube, which looks really interesting to me, so I took a picture of it. And that's just me taking a picture. And on the surface, I could have just walked back and said, hey, here's this picture. Here, kids, take a look at it. And let's find how big it is. Let's do the thing. But instead, I put it in front of kids and let them ask those questions. They wanted to ask questions. How big is that? Where is it? Who made it? How does it stand up? Is that really a person right there? I bet it's pretty big. And then I had some elementary school kids look at it and say, do they have a yellow one around? And I'm like, well, why do you want to know if there's a yellow one? And it's because they equated them to their Unifix cubes.
Yeah.
They saw that and thought, oh my gosh, that's just like our counting blocks that we use in class. They think that there's a stack of them all over. And I said, no, there's no yellow one. There's this red one. It's kind of great. And all the way up to my high school students who said, can we build one of those? Instead of saying, no, that's impossible. That's just, an artist did this. He planned the whole thing. I told them we had 40,000 Unifix cubes in the district and asked them how big one could we make. So in their opinion, they said, wow, how big can we make? Some kids tried to make one solid. Some kids tried to make one hollow. And they came up with 2 totally different sizes because of that. But they were interested in answering their own question. And to me, I'm a math person and a music person. And there's a fantastically natural connection from math to music. You can teach the math of trig and the sound production. You can teach it all about counting. But that question about a big red cube somewhere came because I have a connection to music, because my wife was singing in New York, and because I went there, and because together I saw that my life, my interests brought me to a place where I could ask a new question. Music has nothing to do with that cube, but it's what is the common thread that put us together, that made that question possible for kids of all different levels. So that's one of the things that really does excite me too, is finding the opportunity for the connection to be made through our interests and not just through this surface level connection. And I do have to say that for those of you who follow a principal from New Jersey, Jay Billy, he found a black one in New York. He did find this one. It's called the Alamo. It's a little bit smaller. And he said, hey, I was in New York today and this made me smile. So now I am on a standing on its end cube hunt in New York. I'm going to see if I can find some more and see what we can do with that for the kids. So.
And you said it's called the Alamo?
That little one's called the Alamo. And guess what the big one's called?
What?
Red Cube.
Oh.
It's a real yeah.
Okay. That's creative. It doesn't look like the Alamo in Texas. That's just what I was thinking.
Not at all. I was just there.
Wow, your questions are so inspiring, and I can tell, Deniss, that you are it's not a cliche to say that you are a lifelong learner. I can tell that your questions probably inspire not just students, but also teachers and other leaders that you rub elbows with all the time. So if you could share one thing today that you'd like Lead Up teachers to walk away with and go out and do to make a difference, what would it be?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just try something. You know, listen to your kids, listen to yourself, realize that something's interesting to you or interesting to them, and just try to use it. It's okay if it doesn't work. It's okay if you can't create a question or experience like this every day for your kids. But when you see it, don't put it aside. See where you can go with it. I had a great blog post, I thought it was great, a little while ago, because I read a Boston Globe article about how teachers and parents were so annoyed at their kids who were throwing water bottles and trying to make them land. Remember the bottle flipping epidemic of a month ago?
Oh, yes.
And, yeah. Well, I looked at that and said, no, don't stop them. It's the only thing they care about right now. Turn it into a math lesson on probability for landing. Turn it into a science lesson on water level and see how much water inside makes the best landing bottle. Can you land a short one? Can you land a tall one? Do fat ones land better? Turn it into an opportunity for kids to do nothing but flip bottles in class and learn from it. Because there's two great things that can come out of that. One is that you grabbed a hold of a passion that they had at that moment and you yanked some learning out of it. And two is because you thought it was cool, they probably shut it down a little faster. So you actually made them stop doing it by making your teacher think that it was really good. You know, so that's the type of thing that if you're in class and your kids are super excited about something, and how many times have you said, let's just wait till, you know, put that aside. We'll talk about it later. Or, oh, you kids everybody's got a new iPhone. Well, put them away. Don't talk about that. Keep it out. You know, how about we actually talk about what's going on? How about we make it into an opportunity? It's not easy to be on the fly like that, but a teacher can take that and tuck it away in their head for a minute and say, I can do this tomorrow. I can take what they were really anxious about or talking about yesterday, and I can turn it into something tomorrow and make it good. And I like to encourage you to try. I think your kids will probably be pretty excited for it.
That's great advice and a great challenge for our Leadupteach audience.
Thanks.
You'll be happy to know, too, that the water bottle flipping around here has turned into marker flipping. So the big challenge is trying to land the marker now.
Now, see, that's a teacher's wheelhouse right there. Like, right. I've been taking markers and throwing them over my shoulder to get them to land on the marker tray for years. And every now and then one lands and the kids go crazy. But I'll tell you what, for all of you teachers out there, for however many are watching this, if you take it and hold the marker in your hand and do a behind the back toss, it goes so much better every time. It's right on level with the tray, and it leaves your hand with a perfect spin as far as a tip goes. Get out there, you'll land it 10 times more than you would. You look like a hero. Go for it.
I'm going to have to practice that.
Do it. Get that practice going.
Well, as we wrap up, share what's coming up in the near future for you and how our listeners can connect with you in the future.
Well, obviously, personally, I'm a K-12 math administrator, so I'm working with teachers all the time. We're in the middle of a year. This is a really busy season for me at school, so it's not as busy of a season for me out. So I'm actually pretty open in my schedule. So if I'm heading, my next thing I'm doing a workshop in New Jersey in January. And then I'm heading to Santa Fe in March to present at the Mid-School Math Conference. That's being headlined by Joe Bowler, who's the author of Mathematical Mindsets. And it's a great opportunity for math teachers at the middle school level to go learn together. So that's on the horizon for me. But I've loved the opportunity to talk with teachers. And I was just in San Antonio a couple weeks ago working with teachers there. And I'm willing to get out there and come to you and visit teachers, visit schools. If you want to find a way to do so, we're calling it Make It Real training now, because I host a Wednesday night Twitter chat called Make It Real. That's the hashtag. It's at 9:30 Eastern, and it's only a 30-minute chat because at 9:30 on a Wednesday, teachers don't have a lot left, I'll be honest. So it's a half-hour chat. I ask 3 questions. We talk about relevance of all levels. We did a book study earlier. And you can read those chat archives on my website, which is just DenisSheeran.com, nice and simple. There you can read more about the book. You can read my blog posts. You can find some more math resources. There's an Instant Relevance book tab, and under that, there's a chat archive. So you can read back on all the different chats and see the resources from other teachers. I post those there each day, each week that we do it. And you can connect with me there too. My email is there, how to get in touch with me. And on Twitter, follow me anytime. My Twitter handle is MathDennisNJ. And Deniss just has one N, so I'm the weird guy out on that one. It's French, in case you were wondering, although I'm not. So that's how you can get in touch with me, and I would love it if you did. I'm really excited to come out and do some Make It Real training in some other schools and work on both relevance and how you can incorporate that on a day-to-day basis. And I also do a lot of presentations on and workshops with Google Apps and Google Certified Educator. So I do Google Apps in school, Google Apps for math, and integrating the SAMR model into technology and Google in your classroom too. So if you have anything that you're interested in, you can reach out anytime.
Wow, you certainly offer a lot. And honestly, this has been such an insightful conversation. And thank you so much, Deniss, for joining us on Leadupteach tonight. I know that we've definitely enjoyed it, and I'm sure our audience has too. And we just want to thank Laura Gilchrist and our Leadupteach audience on Twitter as well for participating tonight and listening in.
Well, I can't wait to read that chat. So thanks for coming to my basement and letting me come in.
Well, and we will also be sharing out the recording of tonight's episode for Leadupteach with Deniss, so people out there can look forward to watching the replay of it.
Well, this is my first YouTube Live, so it's going on my website. I'm going to put it right up.
Oh,
hey,
awesome.
And you pioneered the screen share, too. We haven't had a single guest do that before, so virtual high five.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to have to learn how to do that one. That's great. That was really great. And we're excited to announce the date and time of our next Leadupteach episode and want everyone to go ahead and mark their calendars for episode 17. It's going to air on Thursday, January 12th, and we look forward to welcoming Stephen Weber as our first guest in the new year of 2017. And he's going to be speaking to us on the topic of transforming teaching and learning with curriculum design.
And in between now and our next episode, we encourage all of you to follow those you connected with tonight on Twitter, and also Deniss, our special Leadupteach guest. And use the hashtag Leadupteach to connect on Twitter as well. We are signing off for tonight. We hope everyone has a great night, and lead on and lead up.